Uh, Hi, everyone. This is Kathy Mason from Mason Works Marketing here today on Conscious Business Zone with one of my most favoriteest person in the whole world, Darlis Mayes. We were saying that we're sisters from another mother's, but it's even more than that. We must have been friends multiple lifetimes. And she's a dear, dear, dear resource that I want you to know about so that you can live and have the most incredible energy in your life. So, morning, Darlis. Thank you for
Morning,
being
Kathy.
here. So, Darlis, I want everyone to know about the other resources that are available to them in their environment so that they can make better conscious decisions where their environment is supporting them. So could you talk about that, about how the energy of the space?
Absolutely. So what we don't realize so much is that I get calls all the time that says, "Oh, my house or my business is pretty clear energetically and I sage." But the dowsing work that I do in working with all the different subtle energies that we have available to us, working with the ley lines of the planets, then we can really clear and open up the space. Plus, the work that I do, I really check on each and everything. I check on, is there geopathic stress of the ley lines of the energy of the planet coming into that home or business? And is it interfering? In today's world, we have cell phone towers, we have in the power box, in our electric system, we now have smart meters, and we have a lot of energies coming in that say we didn't even have 25, 30 years ago.
Right.
And even the water, the aquifer system, where you live, Kathy, you have fracking going on so much in Colorado. So as human beings, we're messing with the land. And that brings a lot of negative energy to the home sometimes, because and the businesses, it's shifting the energy. So what I do is we have this whole have a whole list of energies that I'm asking with my dowsing rods: the energy of the land, the energy of the building, which always coincides with the energy of the people that are working or playing or living in that building. So it really does a lot of shifting of the energies. Does that
Right.
answer the
Oh,
question?
yes.
Yeah.
Well, the I will add to that. It's not, that answered the question beautifully, but I want people to know that we have access to so many more resources than are visible in our using our five senses, except for some of us sensitives that can feel a lot more than the five senses. But there are so many ways to have you be able to manifest your life's mission, your soul's mission in a clear way with having your environment. This is not feng shui. This is quite a bit higher frequency resources available to you so that you can do what you came here to do. So that's and I it gives you, the benefit is clear thinking, clear knowing, untethered path, a path to your projects, attracting the right people to you, all of those things. So it's not, I mean, we want to talk about it almost like we're talking about it like feng shui, but it is so much more. Would you agree?
Absolutely. So, what has even happened the last few years? I just keep getting more information and things to work with. Okay. So, I also work in the Akashic realm, which is how I got started in this whole dowsing business in the first place.
Uh-huh.
And and then bringing the Akashic realm information into the dowsing energy is hugely important. So I start asking questions and doing history on the building, okay, before I even start the dowsing. So just recently, they keep adding things and adding things. So I work with Anchi crystals. Thanks to you,
Hey,
Kathy.
here's
So
here's my auntie. Here's another one.
wow, beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. So the elements want to come in now. Okay. So as consciousness is raising, We're getting back, remembering we need to work with the plant nation. We need to work with all the different subtle energies, the minerals, the water. So recently I've been guided to, I was in Her last year and I bought the music of the plants. So now in my dowsing, I bring the music of the plants. And the plant element wants to be part of this dowsing. You know, we're working with the land. And so that makes so much sense to me. So the music of the plants, the Anchi crystals, I bring holy water, I bring all of that in. But you're right, the benefit is amazing. Okay, and it can be anything from when my house was doused for the very first time, I had a very bad ant problem for many years. Gone. They're not there anymore. You do sleep better. There's a clarity of your mind, body, and spirit. You're able to get to a deeper spiritual level. You know, they did huge studies, even the ley lines or the geopathic stress lines, they did huge studies in Europe about this many years ago, about there can be cancer clusters in the house. If you're sleeping on a geopathic stress, that needs to be cleared.
Wow.
So I do all this history. Is anybody sick in the house? Are there any animals sick in the house? I had a friend in Colorado that had a very elderly cat. They thought it was on its last legs. After we doused the house, that cat's energy picked up and it lived for another 5 years.
Wow.
So it really affects our pets. And I know a lot of people on here have dear pets that they've had with them many, many years. So we're calling in the trees on the land. I have a device from Dom and Her that I really communicate with the tree. Who's the master tree? Who wants to work with us today? You call in all of that energy. And really what we're doing is we're getting back to the day of Avalon. It touches me here. I've spent some time in Avalon, and in those days we were using all the elements. We knew how to work with them, how to ask questions of them, how to be respectful, that they would come and play with us, that they would come and support us. And that's where we need to get back to.
Wonderful. Well, I want to let you know that Jade Rader, Botchman, and Elsie Ritzenheim are on the call, and I've been playing their notes. Jade says, yes, the elements so want us to engage. And you don't know Kathy Botchman, but you should. She's wonderful, amazing artist. And Elsie is here, so Elsie will add our creativity conversation. So, Darlis, I want to add a lot more about the Akashic Records work, because I took the Akashic Records class with you, and I use it every day in my business with my customers. I open up the records, and I realized that I was already in that space before. This is my 19th year of doing this, but I didn't have like a surefire way to know I was in it. Because so you kind of click in. And could you talk a little bit about the benefit of accessing or having you help somebody access it, or taking the class to access the Akashic Records? Because I don't know. I mean, it changed my life. It gave me so much more clarity and secure. It made me feel more secure in what I knew, that I didn't make it up.
Well, yeah, wonderful. I love the Akashic realm. So the Akashic Records really helped me change my career path. And so it seems that a lot of people that come to me for readings, it's about their business. And that's kind of been my little forte. That's my little niche in the Akashic realm. So I have some great stories where it's changed people's complete business. And then I'm always so honored who shows up to class, because, and then to have them, they're already doing marvelous, wonderful things in the world. And then just to add the Akashic realm as another tool to getting in and conducting business. And that's what I've witnessed with you so powerfully, is that, yes, a lot of people that come to class have already been in the realm. They just didn't have that name attached to it, or, okay, I'm going to say this prayer and I'm going to go in, and without a doubt, I know that I'm in. And it's almost making that conscious contact, right?
Right, right. But it feels different. And people, I mean, I've been working with people where they feel it, where they may start crying because the truth is revealed. Their higher self wants them to know this information. They just use me as a way to bring it through, but it's not me. In fact, half the time I don't even know what I said.
Okay.
which
So
is fine.
Right, exactly. Because it's almost that information's coming from a different realm and you're just the instrument.
Right.
And so you don't even have to remember what you said, it's just you're touching their heart, which is your goal, to really bring out their heart and what they want to do in the world and how you can help flourish that, right?
Right.
So
But I think it's more than that, Darlis. I think that that everyone that came here right now came here with a life mission for this ascension, for this big switch that we're in. And if they're not aware of all of it, their soul's trying to find ways to connect and let them know. And so what you do, your class, your service, it's you guys, you got to try it. It's just amazing access to data. So Darlis, tell us a couple of stories. I can tell a couple, but will you tell us a couple of stories of either how the dowsing changed, or I'm sure are you using the records when you're doing the dowsing anyway? So it's all
absolutely
one. Okay.
It's all one.
Okay.
So I have a great story with Akashic Records. I had a woman come to me. In fact, she was very, it took her a long time to come to the point where she would actually get a reading. She had lots of questions. What's the Akashic realm? And I patiently answered all of her questions. And 3 months later, she gets a reading. So this reading was about her business. She did quantum physics. It was amazing what she did. And she worked with clients. And the business had slowed down and she felt like she wasn't completing her mission. So she came to me for a reading, and this is so powerful. As many people know, Edgar Cayce is like the godfather of the Akashic realm. He's done more with the Akashic realm in our generations than many people, and many books have written, and they were all recorded, and lots of great information came out of his work. It turns out this woman in her last lifetime was his housekeeper for 30 years.
Wow.
And and she was like a servant to him. And he would always say, you're going to be the healer in your next lifetime.
Wow.
She comes into this lifetime, and sure enough, she's the healer. But her business had slowed down. She wasn't happy. She was actually living in Florida and not happy about it. They had moved from Colorado to Florida because of her husband's business. And now the business, he's retired, and she wants to move back to Colorado, but the finances weren't there to do that. And it was during the 2008 downturn.
Oh, wow.
So their house is underwater here, and how can they sell, and all this stuff going on. Well, it turns out she was saying a prayer before she worked on clients, and the Akashic realm said they asked for the prayer. So she stated the prayer, and they said, you're coming from a servant mentality as your last lifetime. You need to say a prayer that comes from you being a healer.
Oh, wow.
So right then and there in the reading, they had her write down, they assisted her in writing a new prayer. And she used that prayer. And 8 months later, I get an email saying that they successfully sold their house. She has a healing center in Colorado. Wow. And thank you so much for the reading. It gave me so much more clarity. So that's so powerful. It's so wonderful.
Yeah.
So, and a great dowsing story for a business that I have is there was a substance abuse treatment center that was in Florida, and they were getting ready to open up an adolescent treatment center, which is a big undertaking. And they were opening, and I knew them. I knew one of the three owners really well. And then the one owner is telling me, well, we're going to open up 20 men, 20 boys, and 20 girls. And I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of teenagers.
Wow, yeah.
And most adolescents focus either on the males or the females to separate them because of the hormones at that time of the game. So they were like, no, we got this, but we hear what you're saying, but okay. So a week before they were to open, the one owner said, we really need Darlis to douse it. So this was a 2-day dowsing. The land, first of all, it was a renovated assisted living facility.
Okay.
So people had actually died in that building.
Oh, no.
Because they were elderly, right? It's the natural progression. So anyhow, I come in, and they had told me when they were first doing it, they were going to open them. No, I didn't know that information yet. Anyhow, so I came in, did a 2-day dowsing with my dowsing partner at the time. There were spirits running through there. And can you imagine adding all that energy of what's going on there and then add a bunch of teenagers to the mix?
Oh my Lord, thank goodness you did it.
I know. So the one owner really quite wasn't a believer in what I was doing. So he called me after the first night, and I said, the most amazing thing is that we did the outside, and then we started working on the female wing of the facility, and there was not one thing that needed to be changed on the female side. It was high energy. It was a whole positive vortex. Now, tomorrow we're going to do the male side, and we already know that there's a lot of work on that side to do.
Okay.
He was silent. And he said, Darlis, I'm going to be honest. I was not a believer in this work, but let me tell you what happened. We were all set to open the male wing first, but some of the male employees didn't complete all their certifications that they needed to. And we weren't getting any calls to admit males. We were only getting calls to open females, and the whole female staff is ready to go. So just 2 days ago, we decided to start with the females rather than the males, and you wouldn't have known that.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know it, and you didn't know it, but the universe knew it.
Yeah. Well, and you tried to tell them anyway. So perfect. Yeah. Oh, perfect.
And, it was fun to watch the employees, because here I am in the middle of them rushing around, getting everything ready with dowsing rods, right? So some of them would come up and say, okay, what are you doing? And then I'd explain a little bit. They were like so pleased. The ones that were in tune with energy work were so pleased that their owners would take the time, energy, and expense to have me do that, to start with clear energy. I now know that if we could do every treatment center in the whole world, because this is what I was taught. We asked people from all over the world to come to a drug treatment center and leave their disease of addiction and go home clean.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of energy left with that, the disease of addiction is left there. I feel the same way of hospitals. People come to hospitals that are ill. Some of them are not going to make it. And imagine a big building like that, the energy and the negative vortex that starts collecting, and it's left there. Well, I bet that they would really be more healing if we could come in and clear at least what's there now and keep it clear. Right. The crystals have been amazing, because it came to me like several years ago to use them over a building to set up a Merkaba symbol. And then I programmed them that they are left in charge to raise or lower the energy as it would benefit the land, the building, and the people in it.
Wonderful.
And that way that energy is always being worked with in a good way.
Wonderful. Yes. Well, I know that the first time you did my house, I could totally tell the difference. The first time you did my office, some deer showed up that evening.
Right.
And the patch of land that the deer could eat off of, there's two or three trees, and the thing's only 10 feet wide and real long and skinny. And I've never seen deer there since. So
I threw that by the road. It didn't even make sense.
Yeah. I've never seen them there since. But the day that after you did, it was the evening. You did it during the day, and that evening there were two deer grazing, right? And it was like, wow, that's amazing. And then I know just recently you worked on my house. I've been purging the house a lot, and kept feeling that there wasn't something right there. And because of the stuff that we were moving around, the energy work that you did right away, it was palpable. I mean, it's so much more than sage and lavender. I mean, and using essential oils, or even people that put the copper wires, copper rods in each corner, or putting rose quartz in each corner. This is so much different. This is quantum different.
Right. Well, it's deeper. Okay. It's really checking off that whole list of, is there a negative vortex? Is there a positive vortex that we can expand on?
Oh,
and if there's a negative vortex will tend to gather clutter. It's not happy there, right? And it's like a swirling negative energy. And so things start gathering there. So if there's a spot in your house that a lot of clutter is always wanting, maybe, I see it so much, like the last dowsing I did, I saw it like it's the dining room table stacked wide and high, it's like, okay, well, this will go away. The energy, when the energy is now positive, it can't hold that clutter. It will have to be worked on. It will have to go away. They also had a bug problem. I'm like, the bugs can't live, I live in Florida. So, the bugs can be pretty hefty here. Well,
they could take over, you mean?
Yes. Yeah, I'm being polite, but yes, they can take over. Yeah. And so with the house or the business now having great energy, it's not attractive to bugs. They're going to go outside where they belong. There's a space for them too. It's just not in our homes.
Right. Well, Darlis, I put up your website so people could get a hold of you. How else can people get a hold of you so they could experience either an Akashic Records reading, a dowsing of their space, or a chance to take your Akashic Records class?
Right.
Which I highly, highly, highly recommend. I don't know when you're doing your next one, but I hope soon.
I'm looking at February dates. So yeah, people can call me. I'll give people my number. I have no trouble giving that out. They can email me.
Okay. Or they could find you on Facebook, because you're
on Facebook. Yep.
I just got a thing from Elsie asking a question. Otto Schwarmer in Presence asks, what does it take to connect to that other stream of time, the one that gently pulls me towards my future possibility? Does that resonate with Darlis's work and creativity?
Absolutely. Okay. So we're living on many different timelines at the same time. So when you go into the Akashic realm, you can ask questions about what would benefit me to know. So when people come to me for an Akashic record, it's the energy of right now, but we have the possibility of shifting that if we need to. We can be more present on another timeline if that's going to be a benefit. Akashic Records has gotten a reputation about being about past lives. I say it's about past, present, and future.
Right.
And it's all on different timelines. We're all working in different realms every night when we're sleeping. We're in different dimensions, right?
Right.
So what I request is that when people come for an Akashic Records, it's 5 questions, that they have 5 questions written down, and each question can have an A, B, C, and D. The records like meat and potatoes. They don't like anything surface. They don't like yes or no answers. They want to go deeper. Okay. So say a question could be, I'm getting ready to switch professions. Is it time for me to switch professions? Yes, that can be the main question. Then underneath that on B, okay, I'm looking at these 3 professions. Which one would be the best for me at this time? And then, okay, then C could be, okay, how do I get started? So you just keep getting deeper and deeper in the same question. And there always seems to be kind of a theme that you came there. They know your heart the minute you agreed to do a reading. And they're already working and they're excited for you to get there and to really deliver this information to you for your highest good. And with the raising of the consciousness, I always say, I want people to know this work so they can get their own information, so they can be empowered on a regular basis. And as we do this, we're lifting all of human consciousness at the same time, because we're getting information from a much higher realm than we're sitting in right now.
Right, right. That's perfect. And Elsie, the other part that I would say to answer your friend Otto's question is that when I use Akashic Records, I open up the records and I'm actually shown the highest beneficial timeline for my customer in a movie. I actually see a 4-color movie and I just tell them what I see. And then if there's questions, I ask more. A lot of times it'll tell you the products that you're going to make, their name, and all sorts of stuff that's already just sitting up there waiting to be manifest here. So timelines are interesting because we just are so powerful in our creations, but we need to, as humans, we have the possibility to sit in the driver's seat in a much more profound way, right?
And this is the time for us to own the gods and the creator gods that we are.
Right, right, right.
And the Akashic can really show you. A lot of sometimes I have people really moved emotionally, because if they're not really getting or owning who they are, they will be shown lifetimes where they were incredible masters.
Oh, beautiful.
And it's almost like a little boost. Well, you know what? You're so well respected on this side of the veil. Let's show you who you were and who you have access to. You know, one of the ways that Akashic Records is in us is in our DNA, okay? Every lifetime we've ever experienced, which sometimes there's thousands, millions, is in us already. And the so-called junk DNA, that's not true. That's some of the most powerful information and energy that we've yet to unlock.
Right. It's in another dimension, that it's just not in 3D. But
Right.
You started to see this, and I would love for you to explain, once you access these other lives, you can borrow skill sets, right? Can you talk
Yes.
about that? Like if I was an excellent writer,
Right.
if I was an incredible author before, I could call in my...
Yeah. So it turns out that I'm more of an orator than a writer.
Oh,
and I've always had this resistance. It really started in college when I had these 20-page papers to write. I became like I had a disdain for writing, and I need to stop that because that doesn't help. So when I have to write something, when somebody says, "Oh, Darlis, write your bio, we're going to go do the sacred journey, and we need to know who you are," and there's always been this resistance. Well, it turns out that I've been very famous writers in my past lives, and it turns out that there's like 4,000 of them. So now when I sit down to write, I go into the Akashic Records and say, "Okay, guys, write through me. This is your forte." But I have that wisdom, you know, the wisdom's in here somewhere. Let's bring it up so we can start utilizing it.
Yeah, just think of the resources that are available. First of all, the resources that you're making available are the actual physical space resources that support and help you grow and help you feel that you have a platform that's stable, right? And then the next part is all this incredible information that allows you to be the biggest you. I mean, who doesn't want that?
Absolutely. And what we have to understand is every time I douse like a house or a business, typically that energy goes out in every direction. 5 miles. I test it sometimes just out of curiosity. 5 miles, 10 miles, 50 miles. Okay, so it's like that. Remember that website that came up a few years ago where you would amplify somebody's affirmation,
Uh-huh.
and then it would go like if it was in Jupiter where I'm at, then it would go, and somebody would affirm me my affirmation in Africa. There would be a line on the map.
Uh-huh.
That's what I picture with dowsing. You douse this and it goes out and sends energy in every direction. It benefits the whole neighborhood. Right? So
Right.
the more we get everything cleaned up, the better off we all are.
Right.
School is another thing on my list. I actually have friends. I was part of an international dowsing consortium for many years, and we were worldwide. And there's a couple women in Australia that have really focused in on schools. If we could get into schools, if we could get into police stations, I could just get into police cars. Because I realized a few years ago, okay, look at a police car these days. They have a camera. They have a walkie-talkie. They have the, right here that they can talk into. They have a computer in this little car now. Just the EMFs that are coming in that little space and hitting them all day long.
Yeah.
What the difference we could make. And I'm going to get with my friend Shirley, who's actually spoken to Jupiter Police Station, and she has a machine that can test that.
Oh, wow.
So it's time for me to really up my game and get with her and them and say, okay, let me clear the space and see what difference it can make. We're under a lot of stress right now. So this could be.
Yeah, that's great. Well, the one other thing I wanted you to mention is about you are doing Sacred Journeys. You're taking a trip to Shasta coming up, and could you talk about that for a minute or two, and then we'll probably have to sign off. But
okay, yeah. So I've done a lot of sacred travels in my time. I have gone to Africa and Egypt and England. And, lots of different, and I've been involved in retreats. I just finished a 30th annual retreat that I helped start 30 years ago. Of course, I was 12 when I started. That's what we're all saying this year. I was 12 when I came. No, so and this year, out of every retreat, I've never missed one. There was so much love. And that was the theme this year. And there was a heart on the T-shirt. That was the logo, was a heart. And I could feel it. The amount of love. So anyhow, I love doing Sacred Journey. And so I had the synchronicity, of course, that somebody asked me last October, a medium called me and said, you're taking me to Mount Shasta. And I hadn't done a trip since like 2011. I used to take people there years ago. So I said, okay, we'll kind of do a trial run. And I just took a few people. And then they're like, come on, we want another one. And everything is still in place. All the people that I know and all the energy is so powerful there. So yes, I have one coming up in June. It's already half registered. Half the people are registered already. Okay. And then I am looking at doing one to Damanhur later in the year, like maybe next summer or fall. Okay. And I really want that to be, I love that. I used to be a private chef, so I love creating that whole energy and taking people, because in Mount Shasta, the 72-year-old that went with me said, this is life-changing, Darlis, what you're doing. And she was the first one to sign up. She just went in October. She was the first one to sign up for the new one, which is really information.
Well, Darlis, I'm going to show your website again on the screen so people, and that would be how they could find out more about Shasta and find out about, and again, you guys, you really want to take the Akashic Records class if you can, and all of it, and have Darlis do your Akashic Records reading. and do dowsing, because these energies right now, the opportunity right now is to be at a higher level of creation if you use your environment. It's there and ready. It's just new tools, new concepts to allow you to bring more of your divine essence in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I do remote dowsing. I don't have to be in your area. I do almost 99% of my Akashic records is over the phone, and we have a way to record it. So you get the recording. The Akashic records are now on Zoom. So no matter where you live, the last class I had 5 different time zones, and we worked all the time way, and great energy. And those people are still practicing together. They love that class.
Well, so, but the people that are on here Noelle and Bob are on here now, and they've taken it. And yes. So several of the people that are on here can testify. And I wish David Powell was on here, because he was my partner when we were doing things. So, but yeah, everyone that's taken this class has just been amazed at the access to higher meditation states, access to better information, clarity, and power. It's very powerful work.
It is.
Yeah. So thank you, Darlis. I love you so much, and I'm so glad to feature you. And now you're not a secret anymore. I have this everywhere I can. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Kathy. I love you so much.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Okay.
Thanks, everybody, for being here.